Good afternoon, everyone. This is Bremster, and yeah, still quite unwell. Playing a little bit more Diablo 3, I thought might be a bit relaxing. Got a couple of things I just like to see if I can knock off on the season journey. Not going to try and push too high up the greater rift chart, not interested in doing that at all. Just want to see if I can get these last couple of Paragon pieces. So to do that, I'm going to once again travel to the Temple of the Firstborn and basically just run through some enmity
Need more
rifts.
time.
Um, just procking the. There's. It's just get a couple of primals and it's just farming big gear. See if I can improve my gear. I should potentially try and
My curse upon you. Not ready
do the get more gems and make myself more powerful, I suppose. But we'll see how we go. So do some Whispers of Atonement.
yet. Needs more time. A perfect strike. Not ready yet.
That's what I wanted.
The spirits aid me. Needs more time. You must face another trial, my friend. Need more time. You die! That was inspiring.
Lots of axes. Well, this is a short enmity.
The truth burns you. I am returning to town.
Yeah, I am.
Hey lady, I got some new things. You should take a look.
I strike at your heart.
Hot strike.
spirits aid me.
Did you notice the Vision of Enmity back there? I did. Only a bit late, but I noticed it.
The spirits aid me. The truth burns. Not ready yet. My power grows vast.
Avast ye power. Bosses. Did he drop nothing? It looked like he dropped nothing. Okay.
I must heal.
Okay. I hate these mobs. They're immune to the chicken. I reckon that's a bug, that these mobs are immune to the chicken.
Need more time.
It really looks like... Like, see, they just block all of the damage that the chicken does. I think they only get hit by indirect or something. Something really weird is going on with them. Or that the chicken... There's this thing where the chicken will proc extra damage, and I think something to do with the extra stuff will not target the armored mobs because they're not actual mobs, they're just armor. And there's something to do with the way that they're marked that means that they just don't get attacked properly.
Look,
just over there. I never imagined such a creature.
need more time.
So if they're wearing their armor, see that there's something really wrong going on. And this game is never going to get bug fixed. See, block, 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 block. So something else nearby has to get hit.
Your evil undoes you.
And then it gets hit by the splash damage.
I am returning to town. not ready yet. Your evil undoes you. Need more time. Overburdened. I need to go back.
My bags are full of junk. My bags are full of junk. I've been killing lots of monsters and I'm picking up the stuff and my bags are full of junk.
Riches await us. Look, just over there. I never imagined such a creature.
A perfect strike.
I think the armor has to get taken out by my follower. Or something. I don't know what's going on. It's definitely not working right.
Your death comes. I am returning to town.
With another bag full of stuff.
Your death comes.
I can wait no longer.
Your death comes. Your death comes. The spirits aid me. Needs more time. You die.
A mighty foe has fallen.
A little bit confused by that, but okay.
The spirits smile upon me.
Wow, lots of boss levels. Yeah, let's empty these bags. A few Yujing Does, or however they're pronounced. Sick of being sick. Malicious Bits. Broken Crown. Hexen Pants. I don't care about any of that. Probably should, but I don't.
Do you see that enemy over
Needs
there?
more
Let
time.
us cleanse it from this land.
All the way up there. A mojo. A mace. An S word. What is the S word?
My curse upon you!
Nope. Oh, let's do a reset. Sick and tired of being sick and tired. Why did I click on that?
My strike
Dumb.
is true. My curse upon you! The spirits aid me!
Didn't get a pop.
The spirits aid me!
No pop for me.
My strike is true. Your
There's the
evil
vision.
undoes you.
Gimme, 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 gimme one vision.
You never cease to impress me.
There you go. Lots of stuff. So many materials and gems as well. Hey, Keith. 5 a.m.? Wow. I mean, why are you even awake? That was terrible for me.
My strike is true.
Chicken strike! I get a goblin level, so everything else gets worse.
I never imagined such a creature.
Your evil undoes you.
To once again, I say zip.
My strike is true. I need to go back.
That happens to me a lot, where I get to sleep at about 1 a.m. and then I have to get up at 6 or 7. Those are the mornings where I'm often not on as early as I would like. Recently, I have been sleeping a lot during the day.
Hey, lady, I got some.
Your evil undoes you.
Should get a lot of items out of this, and my death breath after this should be just ridiculous. I've messed up my cooldowns.
I grow in power. Need more time.
Okay.
My strike is true. I need to go back.
Even if you do question cats, they wouldn't answer you. I find it weird that you said that, Keith, and there was someone in chat who used cat logic, who I've never seen before. Welcome.
My stomach feels strange.
My stomach feels strange too, but that's because everything I've tried to eat in the last few days has not been able to stay down. Or at least not easily.
I need to go back.
Oh! Well, welcome. This is basic, I mean, Diablo 3 is probably the dumbest, actually it's not the dumbest game I play here. Diablo 3 is my big escape game. I finished the Diablo 3 season with my last stream of Diablo 3, but there's a couple of goals I would still like to finish. So, yeah. This is where I just come to have silly fun. I finished a No Man's Sky expedition this morning, and I had a lot of fun with it.
Evil undoes you.
Definitely the most fun expedition I've done in No Man's Sky. Are you a video gamer? Use Cat Logic? Or Cat Logic? Let's just, unless you object, I think Cat Logic is probably just a good thing to say.
Your evil undoes you.
That spell shall silence you.
The spirits aid me.
but I've been playing Diablo 3 since its release, on and off, and I still really enjoy it. So yeah, people have a really weird definition of strategy games. I don't know if you know Yahtzee Crenshaw. He's the guy who does, it used to be called Zero Punctuation and is now called Totally Ramblomatic, I think. And he is part of... what's the name of the channel? I should know the name of it. And I cannot remember the name of the channel. I should know. But he recently did a discussion of what are strategy games. And it was a lot of discussion about, to my mind, the difference between strategy and tactics, though he didn't use that term. Strategy being stuff about long-term goals, so a lot of city builders and things where you are doing planning are what I would call strategy games. He said what he likes is more immediate strategy games, which are what I call tactics. Tactics is what will win you a battle, strategy is what will win you a war. And I'm very much a tactical player rather than a strategic player. So the way I like to deal with strategy is over-prepare, which will never win you a war, because there's no such thing. If you try and over-prepare during a war, then you're too vulnerable. Like, you're too slow and all of that sort of stuff. But every time I try and play games like StarCraft and everything, I just don't cope, because I always want to go too defensive. I want to be too over-prepared for every circumstance. And I can't fight battles on multiple fronts in real time. And I don't click with that sort of game. City builders I like in a board game because they're a little bit more controlled. I'm not a huge fan of them in computer games because I'm aware of how the computer games pull levers to cheat both for and against the player. So they bug me a lot. So yeah, people have weird definitions of strategy games. And what people enjoy is completely up to them. And I think this is why I've bounced so hard off a lot of what people call good Sudoku, or what I call ridiculously difficult Sudoku, is because a lot of them are way more... you will make a really difficult deduction and it won't lead to anything, and then you've got to make another really hard deduction and it doesn't seem to lead to anything, and then you've got to make another really hard deduction and all three of them in tandem might lead to something. And if you've got a strategic mind, then all of those pieces fitting together may be really, really cool for you. But only people who've got those really deep strategic minds can do that sort of stuff and enjoy them. When I play board games, there's a friend of mine who is a really, really good strategic thinker. Like, I would call him sort of an 8.5 to a 9 strategic thinker. Like, he's no military general, but he is really good strategically. Tactically, he's good. He's better than average. He's probably a 6.5 to a 7. Our positions are, I won't say swapped, because he's a better tactical gamer than I am a strategic gamer, but I am way better at the tactics than he is. So if if we often play cooperative games
I
together,
need to go back.
and if we're in immediate danger, and he's looking at it, he will be constantly looking at, in order to win the game, we need to do X, Y, and Z. And therefore, he will not see the way out of how do we lose in the next 2 turns. Whereas I will turn around and be able to say, we don't lose in the next 2 turns by doing this. And to me, it's incredibly obvious. And he just turns around and says, but we can't do that because that may cost us the game. And it's like, if we don't do that, we will lose the game. And between the two of us, we are amazing at cooperative games because we see the game from different things. When a game is heavy strategic with tactical elements, where he will generally win, but when it boils down to there is an immediate moment where the game can turn on a dime, I should have looked at those. Actually, I know any non-ancient is probably not good for me. He will know that odds are in that moment I'm gonna beat him because tactically I am better than he is. And that the other thing is strategic players have a lot of Portal is tactical. Portal is there is a problem in front of you. You need to deal with the problem in front of you and then you move on. If Portal was how do I solve this puzzle problem, but which problem I deal with then has to lead to something else, and if I solve this one then that could cause a problem later on and all of that, then that might make it more strategic. There's no real good allegory for it, but a strategy game is the decisions I make now, how are they going to impact me 20 minutes from now, 60 minutes from now, 3 hours from now. Tactical is what do I need to do in the next 30 seconds to 5 minutes. So when you say that you're interested in strategy games, I'm very, very curious as to, in city builders, I'm assuming you mean much more strategic play than what I would call tactical.
Needs more time.
Whereas this game is just mindless. I click on stuff until it fall down. And that's what I often need to relax.
Need more time.
Cyberpunk, I would actually say, is neither really. I mean, you're not having to make plans. Cyberpunk presents you with story-based options, but realistically, you're not going to go wrong with Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk, you may get a worse outcome, but the story's not going to get locked out from you. So I may make a decision in Cyberpunk that results in me getting a way worse story outcome. But I can't... But the way that they've designed the story, because it's a story-based game, they are... It's really neither. It's a story-based RPG with moments of tactics in it. But I would say it's more like an ARPG in some ways. It's sort of a cross between... It's basically a first-person shooter story game. You can't really make that many stupid decisions in Cyberpunk. It doesn't let you. I would say most civilization-based games are strategic because you're not planning on what you are doing for the next 5 minutes. You are making a decision for what's going to be good for you in 30 minutes or an hour. Of course, I don't know the specific games you're talking about, but... That's my impression. Pardon me for being a snot monster. I like strategy board games because they are smaller focus, so they've got a much more limited range of what they're going to be. And as I said, video games have levers they push and pull in order to adapt to the player. And as someone with a game design background, I can see those levers being pushed and pulled, and I don't like it.
A perfect strike.
So, an example would be in Cyberpunk, when you're driving around the city for an hour, and the roads are always, 20% full, and everything is nice and comfortable, until you pick up a vehicle delivery mission where you need to do it in a limited period of time without damaging the car, and all of a sudden the roads are 80% full. That is the game developers tuning the reality of the game in order to
The spirits aid me.
make the player be to basically put a difficulty spike directly in front of the player that wasn't there before. Most strategic computer games do this. And computer-based board games are terrible at it.
Die.
So, with board games, the players normally have perfect information. So if it's a board game I know well, and back before the pandemic that was hundreds of them, you have perfect information. Like, you know exactly what the cards are in the game. You know how common those cards are in the deck. An example of this that I frequently used was Star Realms. Star Realms was an incredibly popular little card game and an incredibly popular app, to the point where they stopped selling it pretty much as a game and only continued developing it as an app. Now, the problem with this was, when it was released as a card game, we knew how common certain cards were in the deck. We knew I think it was a 90 card deck or whatever, and we knew that certain cards existed in that deck once. So we knew that, you would get that card in particular draws about this frequency. And for people like me who played the game a lot when it first came out, we knew how the deck played and how the deck felt when you played it. Then they released the computer game version of it, where you could play against an AI. And if you were playing against an easy AI, it was okay. It was not too bad. It was very, very clear that the easy AI was a bit lucky. Like, it would get lucky card draws way more than it should.
Smile upon me.
But it wasn't too bad. If you upped the difficulty, how do you make something with... How do you make a game play a game... Or how do you make a computer play a card game better? Now, there's several different ways of doing it. You can either program in the strategy and the tactics of the game so that it can make better decisions, or you can do what most designers do. You can tweak the numbers. And this is what they did with Star Realms. So what would happen when you are playing Star Realms, and you could watch it happen, is it would be so incredibly lucky with its card draws that you could predict what cards it was going to draw based on what cards it had previously drawn. So in Star Realms, there are 4 different factions, and as you are playing, you would pick which faction you're going to play or which faction you might focus on based on previous decisions you've made and all of that sort of stuff. I'm not going to go too much into it. But some of the more powerful cards for some of those different factions would be incredibly expensive. And if you're going for the ability to buy expensive cards, you don't have a lot of attack strength or defense. But if you're going for... he's taking no damage. I've got no ability to damage him whatsoever. If you're going for the ability to do damage, you can't buy expensive cards. But you can only buy expensive cards if they happen to be on the market at the time that you want them. So, one of the common strategies would be for you to buy cards that your opponent wants, even if you don't particularly want them, so your opponent can't get them, because it's a shared market. Okay, all perfectly reasonable. However, what would frequently happen is your opponent would buy into a deck of 25 cards, 5 cards that are pure purchasing, which are just enough to buy one of the most valuable cards in the deck. Then, on a turn where it's just reshuffled its deck, it would, after your turn, when the market was refreshed, the most valuable card to your opponent would get put into the market, and then it would get exactly all of its purchase cards so it could buy it. And it would do it time after time after time. And the probability of doing that with a real deck of cards, and this was just on medium difficulty, the probability of doing that with a real deck of cards where you are wanting an exact 5 cards out of a 25 card deck, and I'm not talking about, just a couple of them, an exact 5 cards out of a 25 card deck, after drawing a 1 out of 90 into a market at the exact time that you're going to draw them, is, it happens occasionally when you're playing it. When you get those hero moments when you're playing it with the real game, you might see it. I used to play it like 5 or 6 hours a week when it first came out with a friend. Same friend that I was talking about, strategic versus tactical player. We would get those maybe, 1 game in 50. Playing against the medium AI, it would get it 1 game in 4.
The truth burns.
And if you're playing on high, 1 game in 2. So you'd put up a strong defensive card because it's been buying a lot of purchase stuff, and you know that it would need to miracle a good set of attack cards with exactly the right abilities in the right order in order to be able to do it. It's going to draw those cards. It stacks the deck. Similarly, and it's one of the reasons I've struggled to go back to the Castles of Burgundy computer game, is playing against the AI, which is the way I was doing it. The AI, you could predict what the AI was going to roll on its turn based on what it needed in order to be able to get exactly what it needed to be able to beat you. And playing on anything other than easy, it would roll really, really well. And not only that, if you play on hard, not only does it roll well, it makes you roll badly. So, I need to roll at least 1 5, because you can modify dice with modifiers, and modifying a die by 1 takes 1 modifier, and you can modify from a 6 to a 1 and across. So modifying to a 5, the only thing that's expensive to modify a 5 from is a 2. You would roll double 2s, and you would do it predictably. So it's like, as long as I roll a 5, I'm okay here.
You die.
And if on your last turn, you need to get a 5 to complete a 30-point action.
I cannot carry more. I need to go back.
If you spend a die to get the workers to modify a die roll by 1, you get 2 workers. So any 2 dice rolls except a double 2 will get you a 5. So you would roll a double 2. And I did a recording session, my second playthrough, where I was playing on medium, and it was like, as long as I don't roll double 2, I can complete my 30-point, I think it was a 35-point action. It was completing a 6 region, which is worth... 6 region is worth 21 plus 2 points for the final round, plus the 5-point bonus. So that's a 33-point action. 33-point action, as long as I didn't roll a double 2. I rolled a double 2. It was just, yeah, okay. They're doing the rigged play thing in order, and even then it beat me by like 2 points. In order to make the game challenging, they just rig the dice rolls. And I'm not a fan of that. I think it's...
If you insist.
But it is common in many games.
Hey, lady.
Like, this game doesn't. Blizzard games are notorious for modifying published statistics against the player. I am not getting my primals. I mean, this is not me... I mean, it's a reason I will not play a game. It's not me ragging on them designing that way. Doing it any other way would be extraordinarily difficult. I understand why you would do it that way. Absolutely, I understand why you would do it that way. But it's enough for me to say I don't want to be part of it, and I won't recommend a game like this. I think Castles of Burgundy is one of the greatest games ever created as a board game. And I've played hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games of Castles of Burgundy. I know sometimes the dice just do not go in your favour. And it feels like confirmation bias makes it feels like it happens way more often than it actually does. But when I had been told by people who have played as many games as I have or more, my mother plays on a gaming site called Yukata against a bunch of people from the US. She used to play with my father against these people. Maggie and my father used to play against a couple of people. It's a mother and daughter from the US. And they still... Mum still plays with them semi-regularly. And they got the Castles of Burgundy game I was using. Yukata has no AI players or anything. The dice rolls on that are incredibly fair. With hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games, the dice rolls have never been shown to have any bias. they bought this new app because it looked better. It had a slightly different set of the boards and everything. It had networking connect with a whole bunch of different sets of players. So they thought it would be a nice, interesting way of getting more plays of their favourite game in. So they gave it a shot. And they'd played 10 games before they said, no, the dice are absolutely rigged in this game. Demonstrably rigged. Yeah. And it's game developers not knowing how to just let the dice fall where they may. And there are ways of dealing with it. Like, be prepared to let the players be better than you. It's mostly a solo game. So write a moderately good AI that's going to make some clever decisions and let your players absolutely destroy it if they get good enough. What's wrong with that? But these game developers seem to feel like their manhood or something is challenged by people positively destroying their AI bot. And it's like, but that's what your AI bot is for. It's not as if they're reaching out to you and going, yeah, 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 yeah. No, they're just playing versus the AI bot. And if you want to beat more players, study those players, learn how to play the game better, and actually try and write a bot that makes better decisions. Look at strategy guides. Actually be better at the strategy of the game rather than just rig it in your favour. But most of the game developers who are doing this don't want to be better at the game. They just want to win. And as I said, Star Realms for me is the prime example, but there have been most of the board games I've played on any site other than New Carter have been like this. And the Diablo developers and stuff like that are similar. It's like, I've made comments along the lines of, it's like, why do you feel the need to put things in to make the players feel worse? Is it from a sense of needing to one-up the players? Like, what possible sense of accomplishment do you get from that?
My strike is true.
And I've seen puzzle designers do it too, where I've heard puzzle designers, when people test their puzzles and it's like, oh, it was 25 minutes. There were some really interesting deductions in there, and there are 25 minutes. Oh no, I've got to remove some clues, or I've got to make some changes. It's like, why? It was a good puzzle. It's like, oh, I can't have people like beating me in 25 minutes. It's like, they're not beating you. What? It's like, this isn't a competition. It's like, I just don't get it at all.
I need to go back.
I'm going to pop out just before, yeah. And this was the cause of a recent blow up I had. Where it's like, my thing is always around. The challenge in facing your puzzle, in solving a puzzle, should be the puzzle. It should be the puzzle itself. I am not getting primals. This is crazy. Yeah, that's kind of the one I'm talking about. I faced a lot of flack over that. Like, a lot. Like, I don't know if you remember in that... I really shouldn't go into this. I don't know if you remember in that post where I turned around and said, I'm sick to death of raising this and getting a response along the lines of, but you know what we mean. And when I made that post, there was a response made to me, which was, but I suspect you knew what we meant all along. And it was like, see? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the fact that myself, who's been in the hobby for 3 years, knows what you mean. Yeah, I was 98% sure I knew what was meant. Yeah, I absolutely was. Probably 99. But what difference does that make? Write your road laws so that 99% people know what they mean. And then go nuts on the roads. It... The only time I've ever had permission not just to solve puzzles on camera, but solve someone's puzzles at all revoked from me was over that post. To the point where I'm not allowed to help Maggie solve some of the gas puzzles anymore. Now, I don't always get rules explanations right. I will admit that. I have put out puzzles with rules that have confused people or potentially been ambiguous. When that happens, or when I release a puzzle that you have a complaint about, please criticize. Please. The response to criticism should not be, never look at my stuff again. I revoke your ability. I never want you to solve my stuff again. That should never, ever be the response. But that's what was done. The response was literally, and I made a screenshot of it, the response was, I never want you solving my puzzles again. Or it was something like that. But, you know, it was, and I am sure that if this came to a public head, and I'm not trying to do that here, I'm just chatting, that it would be a case of, you knew I just meant to feature it. But that's the problem. What they said was, you are never to solve my puzzles again, or along those lines. They withdrew consent. Consent for me to solve their puzzles was withdrawn. If someone withdraws, I don't expect them, like, is their defense if they turn around and say, but you know we just meant on camera. That's not what they said. They didn't say solve on camera. They didn't say solve anything. They said, you are not to solve my puzzles anymore, was basically the paraphrase of what they said. So,
should I find some new attire? The old things are becoming so small.
If that was the statement, and their response to the next bit, if this ever came to a head, and please don't make it a thing now, was, but you know we just meant on camera. It either is, well, but that's not what you said, and it's a case of, but you know what we meant. If the response is, but you know what we meant, we just meant on camera. It's like, but that's not what you said, and that's what caused this problem in the first place. If you can't say what you mean, how are we supposed to know? Are we supposed to just randomly interpret what you're saying? Secondly, if someone says no, no means no. Like, in my world, if someone withdraws consent, they have withdrawn consent. And it kind of sucks for me, because I liked solving those puzzles.
Needs more time.
Solving them on camera was always a bit of a chore, because, or not always, but often a bit of a chore, because I'd have to get rules clarifications from a third party first, sometimes. But I enjoyed solving those puzzles, but I can't do it anymore because consent has been withdrawn. And the whole concept of, oh, but you know what we meant, it's like, hang on a minute. If someone withdraws consent, is the person that the consent has been withdrawn from supposed to just assume that no means yes under certain circumstances? Is that going to be your argument? Really? Because I guarantee you, it would be, you know we didn't mean that. It's like, yeah. And however I deal with this, sorry, I should not be saying any of this stuff. However I deal with this, it's going to turn into an absolute shit show. So I've been basically ignoring it. There have been a lot of puzzles I've wanted to feature on the channel, which I haven't been able to because I haven't been able to get consent of the creator. There are a lot of channels out there that will just see a puzzle they like on Logic Masters Germany and then do the puzzle. The problem I've got is I get turned down quite a bit. I will frequently get asked. It's like, oh, are you asking for Mark or Simon? It's like, no, I'm asking for me. It's like, oh, yeah. Or, which one of Mark or Simon is going to be solving it? It's like, neither. And people just immediately clam up.
Evil undoes you.
So I never get enough puzzles recommended. There's a couple of people out there who they will see a puzzle on LMD or in the archive. They will contact the setter. If they like it, they will contact the setter. Now, I've got a growing list of setters who I've got blanket permission from, which is great. But if it's a setter that they know I haven't done before, they will contact the setter. They will ask permission of the setter for me to do the puzzle. Normally get it, which is great. Say, I really loved this puzzle. Do you mind if I recommend it for Brem to do on his channel? At which point people turn around and say, oh, you want to recommend one of my puzzles? That's great. There's a much more positive response for I'd love to recommend one of your puzzles rather than me reaching out saying I'd love to feature one of your puzzles. I don't know why, but seems to be the case. Yeah, when those couple of people take a break, I could be in a real problem. And recently, one of the people who has been pretty much the lifeblood of my channel for over a year has had to take a break for life reasons. And I've been struggling. And they literally came back for a week, recommended 25 puzzles, including all of the admin, doing the submissions, doing everything for me. And it's been a godsend. So I've now got stuff probably to get me to mid-December, I hope. But I'm hoping someone else will step up and fill in the gap. because without the recommendations, because it's hard for me to go hunting myself, because if I go hunting myself, I've either solved the puzzle previously, or I'm having to chase permission and everything, which takes time and everything, and is harder for me for some strange reason. There's a primal. Give me the primal. That's what I'm here for.
I can't carry anymore.
But if I chase permission without solving the puzzle because it looks good, and then it turns out to be terrible, then I've wasted all that time and effort, and I won't find out until I'm recording it, and it's just lots of tricks. Where is the primal? There. Jade Harvesters. Goodbye, Jade. Goodbye, Jade Harvester's gloves. One more primal.
I got some new things.
I wouldn't call it politics. It's just that, as a general rule, I prefer to solve with permission. Now, there's been a bit of a shift recently around the permission structure of things, where there's been this general concept of anyone who's published has this general concept of permission given, and it's like, not a fan. So I'm still trying to figure out the balance of that. It's just me trying to do right by people. That's all. It's not so much politics as me trying to do the best for the community. That's all.
My curse upon you. Not ready yet.
Well, tonight's for me, but yes, I hope you enjoy them.
Needs more time. overburdened. I need to go back.
Have a good one, Cat Logic. That's a rant that's going to get me in trouble, I'm sure. But I'm just trying to do right by people is all. That's what the flu meds are going to do for me. Make people pissed off at everything I say. Because my thing on clear rules was all about just wanting things to be suitable for all audiences. Now, I will publish something that's not suitable for all audiences. Absolutely, I agree.
The truth burns.
But it should be done knowingly. Yeah, I'm sure that rant will get me in more trouble.
Have you spoken to Auric?
Not yet.
'Cause that's the way it goes.
The spirits aid me. My strike is true. Need more time. A perfect strike.
A powerful enemy we have laid low.
The truth burns.
I am a chicken. Okay. This is the angry chicken build. You are not losing it at all. That's why in the thumbnail there is a chicken. Because I was always planning on playing the Angry Chicken build this season. And I did.
You die! You die!
Hi, Isaiah. I'm glad you missed me on my rant. I've ranted a lot today.
Your death comes! I am returning to town.
I am not having any luck with getting these primals. I mean, I got one, but I needed two. I hoped I would do it a little faster than this. And again, I'm not sure what I'm going to do once I'm done. It's kind of the goal, just to get the one primal drop.
Hey, lady, I got some new things. You should take a look.
I should have so many of these that I should be able to make this happen now. Wow. It does not want to give me ancient boots, does it? What is going on? I have been through 1,000 legendaries worth of stuff. Okay, now. Boots. Boots, 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 boots. Not great, to be honest. There we go. Can't remember if I've reset or not. Let's reset. I should be getting some gems and stuff and upgrading my gear, but really I've got kind of one goal. And I just want to finish unlocking the altar, which is going to reset before I play anything anyway, so it really doesn't matter.
That is inspiring.
A perfect strike.
This cannot be opened yet.
The spirits aid me.
There's the portal.
My curse upon you!
No, it was a rant. I was there. I heard it. It was a rant.
My strike is true. I must wait longer. My curse upon you!
And the other important thing to realize is my rant is my opinion. People may have differing opinions, and I'm happy to discuss and entertain the fact that I may be wrong. This was part of what I was saying. Back on it again now. When people have reached out to me to say, I'd like to consider solving your puzzles on a stream or on a video, my response is sure, but just be honest about them. If you think the puzzle has flaws, say so.
I am hurt.
Ooh. Being told that I'm not allowed to solve someone's puzzles anymore because I was too critical. Holy cow.
Your death comes.
If I present a puzzle badly, or if I do something that you disagree with the presentation of a puzzle, tell me. That gives me the ability to make a judgment call for myself whether I think you're right or not. If I think you're right, I could potentially do something about it. Maybe not for that puzzle, but in future. If I think you're wrong, I can turn around and say, you know what, I'm comfortable with the decision I made, and I'm going to stick with it. Thank you very much. Maybe not as cynically as that. Maybe as cynically as that. But again, it will be my call. But to turn around and say, I never want you solving one of my puzzles anymore because of what you've been saying about my puzzles.
You die.
No. Isaiah, because consent matters. Consent absolutely matters. No means none.
Your death comes.
You don't fuck around with consent. Ever. An ambiguous
I
no
cannot
means no.
anymore. I need to go back.
If someone's statement can possibly be taken as a no, assume it's a no. Every time.
New goods today.
I did. I absolutely did. I also know, I don't know that person personally. I do not know if that person is involved in the Sudoku community at all, but I am also aware that if that person saw, I'm aware of that person being aware of why that would be a joke,
Your evil undoes you.
and I'm happy to go through the joke if you're curious about it. Keith? If you want the details, I'll happily go through them. So, why not? It's not as if I'm doing anything particularly brainworthy here. I don't think that thing can be killed. Because there's nothing around it that can... I don't get it. Block, 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 block. Oh, good God. Block, 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 block. Need to have the armor just time out and then it'll die. Okay. As I said, I don't believe that person was actually involved in the Sudoku community, and it was a joke on the Vantablack saga. So, I'd completely forgotten about that, but it is definitely worth talking about. So, the Vantablack thing, I believe, is over a decade old now. And what it was, is there was an artist, I'm not sure if he was based in India or somewhere else, but created a paint called Vantablack, which was supposed to be the most absorbent black there is. So, the blackest black paint that there is. And they effectively... Now, I may have this story a bit wrong, but the details will be about right. And what they did is they patented and trademarked this paint and basically said that people couldn't use
I can't
it
carry anymore. I am returning to town.
without permission or something. An artist who wanted to create with it was insisting on a cut of their profits or something, and it turned into a whole show. And then another artist, as a protest to a colour being trademarked, turned around and made the pinkest pink and released it under a licensing agreement, which was that it was free to be used. You know, you had to buy the paint, but it was free to be used by anyone in the world except Ashish Kapoor, the guy who created Vantablack, or anyone... and it was basically, this may not be used, purchased by or used by Ashish Kapoor or anyone acting on behalf of Ashish Kapoor, the guy who made Vantablack. And it was basically saying that you made a black that you were prohibiting other artists from using. I'm making a pink that the pinkest pink, and anyone in the world can use it but you. And because Barbie was based on pink, it was a play on the Vantablack joke. It wasn't me who did it. It was this guy who made the pinkest pink in protest of the Vantablack. Interestingly enough, the guy who made the pinkest pink went on to make a black paint that was more black than Vantablack and kept that happening. Now, Ashish Kapoor did go on and to use the pinkest pink. Why is my pet not picking up these items? Stupid pet. Nope, won't pick them up. So Ashish Kapoor ended up using the pinkest pink anyway. But when the new blackest black was made, it was also made under the agreement that you may not use this if you are Ashish Kapoor or acting on behalf of... I think it was Ashish Kapoor or Anish Kapoor or something. So I included that joke in the Barbie series because it was the pinkest grid ever made. And it was basically anyone who didn't get the joke could Google that name and they would get the whole thing. And when, I think it was Anish Kapoor, actually created stuff using the pinkest pink, which he wasn't allowed to, there was no ramification to that, to the best of my knowledge. It was, like, even though it was legally released, that he was never allowed to use it. When he did, it was like, But he never backed down on Vantablack, to the best of my knowledge, and people who were using Vantablack were still getting legal issues. So, you know, there's this whole what's right when it comes to rights thing.
I need to go back.
Yeah, basically. And it wasn't me who did it. It was, I can't remember the name of the artist who created the Pinkest Pink. But it was basically a play on that. I'd completely forgotten about that. But I don't know if he's in the Sudoku community, and I also know from history he is fully aware of that joke reference. It had been done in the past with other things that were the Xist X. And he's ignored it, done interviews about it in the past, and has thought it was hysterically funny. So I've seen interviews with this guy who says he thinks it's just, you know, because his name became globally known because of it. And as an artist, great. So, you know. I'd completely forgotten about that. But it wasn't as if I turned around and said, well, he's complained about me making Barbie puzzles, so he can't solve them. Lots of people complained about me making Barbie puzzles. There were quite a few people who turned around and said, you should release these puzzles in a non-pink version. No. That's not the point. I could. I won't. Feel free to make your own, you know, to make your own grid with them. But the version that was released was pink.
Please look, you won't be disappointed.
The truth burns.
But this is someone who, yeah, as I said, I don't believe was in the community and was fully aware of the nature of this joke. Because it's been done in other things. I think at the time there was
Your evil undoes you.
someone had done a food-based one. You know, I think there was a taco thing going around at the time. You know, I don't remember the exact details, but it was in the public zeitgeist at the time that the Barbie series was coming out.
Your evil undoes you.
Yeah, I was surprised they did. That was amazing. That is my second favourite intro on the channel ever. I loved getting Demososis and Zeta-Math and... I mean, there are people who weren't in the community at the time, so they're not in it. What I really loved is that I wasn't the solver of the final puzzle.
The way opens before me. Not ready yet. My curse upon you.
You have no idea how much work went into putting that intro together. Took a while. Tried to get Heimlich. Oh yeah, I'd heard about that. Not that the Heimlich maneuver is considered valid anymore. I mean, you won't see trained people use it anymore.
A perfect strike. Your evil undoes you.
The expectation is that at this rate, you will get your, I think it's 8 primal drops or something that you need in a few hours. I am not getting them. I've always been unlucky when it comes to primal.
I need to go back.
Yeah, that Barbie intro. Some people were really, really keen. There were some people who said no. There were some people who were asked to contribute who said no. I'm not going to out them. Because they disagreed with the message of the movie. When I did the series, I hadn't seen the movie. At least when I did the first 5. Which is why I wanted to do the last one, because I thought it was very, very silly that here was me mansplaining Barbie puzzles. I wanted to do another... Once I'd seen the movie and knew the joke, I wanted to do another video with Lumos solving the puzzle. And Lumos was so up for it, which was great. It's a little unfortunate that Lumos has gotten so disturbingly busy. But Lumos's life has gotten really good. So Lumos has gotten basically a dream job, and that becomes a priority. I'm happy to chat about whatever. I just hope I can get people to recommend more. The channel is so dependent on recommendations. Look at these numbers.
The truth burns you.
That treasure could be of use to us.
I am returning to town.
You know where my submission guidelines are, right, Isaiah? because they matter. Feel free to check, Isaiah. I mean, I do have permission from Ratfinks to do Ratfinks puzzles, but if it's a collab, you should check. Like, I'm aware of these Rat Maze puzzle series that has been going around, and I'd originally been told that
The spirits aid me.
I might get those after they'd been featured on CTC, because I don't mind featuring puzzles that have been shown elsewhere. But no one's ever... Apparently, that's not a thing. They are not for me in any way, shape, or form. Oh well.
You die.
Ratfinks, I think, was my first mod on this channel.
Needs more time. I strike at your heart. Not ready yet.
Oh, I hate it when that
Need more
happens.
mana.
Push the buttons in the wrong order and
The
everything
truth burns.
goes to pot.
Your death comes. The spirits aid me. Your evil undoes you. Your evil undoes you.
There have been a number of puzzles that would never have been featured if people hadn't included a solve guide or a hint guide, so that either myself or my testers or both can refer to it in order to make a good video. Well, this is going poorly. Oh, it's because it opened right at the beginning. And I didn't notice. Are you interested in being a guest solver on the channel, Isaiah? I mean, there would be discussions to have, because I have some general requirements for people who do that, but You know what? I'm just picking up this item and then going through. Oh, more of these things. Oh no, this is bosses.
I strike at your heart.
Revel in your victory, my friend.
Need more time.
Oh,
Needs more
crap.
time. I need mana. I am returning to town.
What's today? Oh, I can't remember which one today's is. No, Dinjot has done a couple of easy ones. What are the puzzles for today? Ah, evenly subsetted. Ah, and then a really nice quad puzzle.
New goods today.
I enjoyed all of them. I'm glad the viewers have been enjoying it. I think if you want to keep setting 6x6s that are interesting, although you want to pay very close attention to guidelines, you should definitely have a look at submitting to the adventure series.
The spirits aid me.
Great challenge lies before us.
Overburdened. I need to go back.
Laura.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 hours of visions. Wait, I thought I teleported out. I'm going to get booted out. Seriously, 8x8s are hard. Probably not now. Adventure, because it's been published elsewhere. Adventure created for Adventure, is my understanding. I could be wrong about that. I created a few puzzles for Adventure that were rejected. There's a few constraints that aren't liked. I can't remember if it's anti-night or non-consecutive. I know a few of the Templar puzzles would not like a year or so ago would not have been accepted for Adventure because of just how constrained those constraints are in 6x6. And there'd been a lot of them done at the time. Not sure what the state of Adventure is at the moment. Yeah, no, that's not the way Adventure works. Adventure is a discussion with the setter directly through the Adventure Discord. It's the only way Adventure works. Do I want to try and make some better ones of these? Maybe. I mean, these are okay. I've thought about it, Keith. I really have. The first Psycho Killer that was ever made was a 6x6, and it was tricky. I mean, I could be wrong. I have not been doing much for Adventure. The last engagement I had with Adventure was when Ranks got really sick and couldn't record, because he normally records a day or two before, and he reached out to a few of us to say, could you record a puzzle? And he wanted someone who could literally do one on no notice at like 2 o'clock in the morning his time, and well, I think it was late in the day his time, and it's like middle of the day for me, no problem at all. So I was able to knock one out very quickly because he sent me the puzzle. I was able to set it up and get a video back to him in like 35 minutes because I wasn't in bed like everyone else. Yeah, that worked well. Do I want to do any more? I've been not lucky with getting these primals. Yeah, Miracle is just not is not fun for 6x6. I mean, I think there were a few of them for Adventure, and it was just like, stop. It's all the same logic. So the whole point with Adventure is try and do different logic. Now, I thought the Templar series was good because the solve paths weren't the same each time. I really enjoyed those puzzles. I wouldn't want to do 30 puzzles that were like that. I think they could potentially get samey. I don't know. I'm really happy to have that set on the channel. Don't get me wrong. But if you're doing hundreds of 6x6 puzzles, I can understand why needing to put some limits on what you get. And when Miracle was first popular, it was, oh my god, it was so common to get people who were using Ranks software to just put, I mean, you can put almost any random 3 digits into a 9x9 grid with the Miracle rules, and it's unique. Because I think there's only like 40 something valid grids. I mean, the numbers can transpose, but I think there's not that many different grid patterns for Miracle that can actually work. So the interesting thing has been what different Miracle patterns or different Miracle constraints can we come up with. But anti-knight, anti-king, non-consecutive grew old real fast. Worst vision ever.
That is what I have trained for.
Man, I gotta... Oh, all of us did. I think... I don't know that anyone turned it down. I mean, I don't know. Maybe someone did. But if like... Most of the channels out there are community focused. You know, I'm pretty certain Scott did one. I'm pretty certain Zetameth did one. I think the Asylum maybe did one. You know, it's like Rankska's done guest solves on my channel. I understand why, you know, other creators are less willing to put time into solving for someone else's channel. It's like, it's a bit of work to do, and it's generating the revenue for someone else. It's a lot of work to keep your own channel running. Focus where the effort is for you. It's like, someone calls for help, you help out. Absolutely. I mean, my name's Mud right now, unfortunately, after the whole
The spirits grant me
rules
blessings.
debacle thing, but... It's another short one. Are you kidding me?
I strike at your heart.
Can I get out before...
I strike at your heart.
Yeah, okay, I should have done a reset.
The truth burns.
This event just keeps happening. This is just so mindless.
The truth burns you.
A powerful enemy we have laid low.
My curse upon you. The truth burns. A perfect strike.
Oh, I'd love a large coffee. Do I think I should get a large coffee and maybe switch games?
I strike at your heart.
Each and every crusader was a warrior of rare strength. They had mastered the power of light, of weapon and shield, and of self. Each was sworn to live as a crusader and to die as one. 200 years ago, they took their apprentices and set out into the eastern swamplands. They were never heard from again. Until now.
My curse upon you!
And then there is Vessel of Hatred, which is all about Akarat in kind of the eastern swamplands.
Show them what you're capable of.
There's very little uniques. What? Now it's just mocking me. I know they're never going to fix this game, but I definitely have some suggestions for how to improve it. Fix the bug is the big one.
I am returning to town.
Believe me, that's been a problem, Keith. I think there are issues with that chip. I can't remember. Investigation has been done. I think it is possible to do a 3-apart grid. I think I did one on the channel. Might have been a 2-apart. So it wasn't just consecutive, which is 1 apart.
Hey, lady.
I can't remember. I'm going to try and get one more substantive vision. I'm going to turn the aircon on because I'm melting here.
Your evil undoes you.
Treasure.
Comparatively? No, not really.
Your death comes.
Or I could just go watch more X-Files. Because I've been enjoying that. I just finished the best season of X-Files, though.
The spirits aid me.
Yeah, I don't find puzzles like that particularly engaging because they tend to be about a trick rather than interesting logic.
Perfect strike.
Like, they're fun once. It's like the empty grid puzzles. I think I've seen one empty grid puzzle that I thought was fun. I thought several of them were clever, but I think I seen one that I thought was fun.
That have trained for.
A perfect strike. The spirits smile upon me.
And once again, you do you. Puzzles don't have to be fun for me in order to be worth creating. Similarly, puzzles don't have to be releasable in order to be worth creating. You learn a lot by making puzzles never to be released.
My curse upon you. I strike at your heart.
I would call... I was about to say I was about to call this a substantive vision, and then the goblin's right there. Didn't even fill up my bags once. That's a good point. Has anyone looked at this thing I submitted? Yeah, I should have done the identifying and everything first.
My strike is true. The truth burns.
That
Oops.
is what I have trained for.
I am one red beam of completing my self-set goal.
My curse upon you.
Although if the one red beam is of an item for this build, then I am 2 red beams.
Great challenge lies before us.
You die.
bosses. Bosses. Bosses again.
I am returning to town.
Yes, there is a puzzle by Lucy Audrin, I think it was, that was like that, from Lucy Doku. I'm trying to remember which one it was. Yes, so there was this puzzle by Lucy Audrin, where if you put a 4 on green, a 3 on red, a 1 on blue, or a 4 on yellow, it changed the difficulty of the puzzle. I really like that puzzle. I buy a lot of Sudoku books and stuff from people in the community who put these things out because I want to support the community. Money I make on the channel, when a member of the community puts out a book or something, I tend to go support it. Like, I'm on almost all of the Patreons and everything, all of that, because sorry, that got out of sync. I hate it when that happens. And there are definitely puzzles. I think Philip Newman released one where it was a grid, and on a particular cell, if you put in certain number, a certain digit, it would change, and you could put any digit from 1 through 9 in. It would change the difficulty of the puzzle. Really cool stuff. Oh well, I got one of the primals I'm after. So it normally takes me 14 sessions to complete a season journey, including my own personal goals in Diablo 3. This is season 13 and I'm one primal off. So I was kind of hoping I would get there. It didn't. That one is not better. So yeah, I have been unlucky. I mean, I could be upgrading this stuff by running more stuff. I normally run a lot more cow levels. I haven't run a single cow level, and I have run greed once. So I've done one puzzle ring. So this has been a very, very different season. I have to admit, this season has been fun, but not as much fun as the last one I did, where I played the Whirlwind Barbarian. So I don't know. Will I come back? Maybe. But I enjoyed this as a diversion. I'm going to go have some dinner, watch an episode of X-Files. Will I come back and play some Cyberpunk? Probably. I probably will. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for listening to my rants. Please understand, I'm not trying to be negative about the community. I'm incredibly positive about it. I have put thousands of hours into it. It's really unfortunate to find out that I was fairly certain I wouldn't be able to go to Sudoku Con. It is now 100%. I will not be able to go to Sudoku Con. What happened last week absolutely locks in that I will not be able to go to Sudoku Con. So, yeah, I will not be able to meet people apart from possibly virtually. It's just the way it goes. Yeah, I imagine a lot of other people will be able to, but traveling with medical conditions, traveling from Australia to America, I, I no, just not going to happen. Not with the medical conditions I have. Thanks everyone for watching, and yeah, as always, good luck in Sanctuary, and yeah, there's a good chance you'll see me on in an hour or so back in Night City. Maybe. We'll see. Thanks, everyone. Catch you later.